wanted to talk a little bit about authenticity. And the reason why is because me and a friend of mine have been chatting about it. We both did at one point a very comedic video. But the reality is that while I value, what am I trying to say? This is so hard. It's so hard when I know that it's going to be seen. Like, here is a perfect example. Like, in my head, it's all right there. And when I'm talking with somebody one-on-one, it's perfectly fine. I can have that conversation, be fluid, be intentional, be mindful about exactly what I want to say. And then the second I get on the camera, it's like, oh God, oh boy, what do I say? What do I do? And it's ridiculous. So maybe this is good to just leave in, because I think we all struggle with it whenever we're trying to authentically share whatever is on our hearts. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's a place of maybe fear of being misunderstood, or I don't know, just not being liked or being disagreed with, or just like the variety of things that I guess could happen when you are expressing yourself authentically. But at the same time, authenticity, it's literally more powerful than anything else on earth in terms of our electromagnetic field, more powerful than love. And so it's worth exploring. I think we have so many influencers and things like this that are really trying to present in a certain way. And I myself, I definitely have this idea of who I want to present, because I think that in some way that helps the following that I'm creating. But by being heard and by being seen in this authentic way, where you can mess up and it's okay to have your camera shaking and to not be well lit and to, not have everything perfect, that maybe that makes a lot more sense, because that is the reality of actually who we are and not the facade of who we present. I just wanted to share it because me and her, we're talking about how wonderful it is to be able to be funny, but also seeing that that can be a coping mechanism, and sometimes maybe used too much as a coping mechanism in different cultures to kind of make a difficult situation more lighthearted. But in doing so, it almost kind of like makes it easier to not brush off, but sort of feel lighter about it, even if it's a heavy issue. And maybe not all issues are supposed to feel lighter. Maybe they're supposed to be heavier, because if it's heavy, then we can deal with it in a way that there's urgency. It's like, oh, that's a problem. That's not something to be brushed aside. That's not something to laugh about. It's an actual problem, and it deserves our attention and to be taken seriously. I come from a super comedic family, very funny friendships from when I was growing up, and so I'm naturally funny. I believe I'm funny. But anyways, I realize that it's not exactly maybe the best way of creating more sustainable change, and that I think the heavy emotions are there to support us on the actual change of it. Not to say that we need to dive into our self-pity or just this awful feeling, but rather, okay, yep, no, I'm gonna sit with that and I'm gonna take it seriously and do what I can to give that the acknowledgement of seriousness that it deserves, but also maybe the energy to change it in some way, at least in your own life. I just wanted to make a note of it for myself, that it's important to have balance, and it's important, no doubt at all, it's important to be funny and to have that lightheartedness. But it's also important to hold the seriousness. It's also important to just sit with the heavy and the uncomfortable and realize that that's okay, that has a purpose in and of itself that maybe we want to ignore. There's this movie called The Beach, where it's this island and it's hidden away. Nobody knows where it is except these few people that live there. Somebody finds it, and anyways, to keep the secret, well, they had to essentially ignore the fact that one of the community members was bit by a shark just because they didn't want to reveal the location. And because it was too painful to sit with his agony, they brought him down to the beach to die. It was really awful, and that's the idea of toxic positivity, the idea of just tunnel vision on only what feels good, and in a way using comedy to mitigate everything. It kind of has the same vibe. I don't know, it's got that same sort of brush off, don't really look at it, don't look at it much closer to deal with it, just kind of, it's I'm not saying it's exactly the same, I'm just saying that it has a similar type of not wanting to deal with it fully. So yeah, I encourage you to deal with things fully. I encourage you to sit with your authenticity, to sit with your shaky cameras. You should see the setup right now, seriously. It is a sight to behold. It's like on a game board pool table, on a bed. I'm in bed because, that's the best place that I can be for this. So yeah, this is my call to all of you struggling with authenticity and feeling it, and to remember that your authentic self is your most powerful self. And so when you can step into that and stop worrying about how others may perceive you, it's only going to be a good thing. It's only going to have dramatic impacts on your life for the better. And of course, maybe you want to be really sure about what you're saying to the best of your ability before you say it, so that you can truly live in that authenticity and not look back in 10 years and be like, ooh, cringe. But that being said, we are at no obligation to be who we once were at any point in our lives. So even if what you're saying now, even if it fully resonates with you now, but doesn't resonate with you in 5 years from now, I think we need to get over the idea that we're always gonna have the exact same opinion. We almost never do. It's just a continuous growth and change. A long time ago, I remember saying to the first vegan I ever met, what do you eat? And then in my head, oh my God, what can she eat? I could never do that. And here I am, a vegan activist, basically. So you just never know. You are at no obligation to be who you were at any point in your life from the past. And I just want to leave space for that authentic self to be fully authentic in this moment with whatever it is, whatever truth that you have currently, and realize that it may be different and that that's okay too. As long as you're remaining in that authentic self and expressing the truth from your heart, then maybe you'll be able to get to a place of coherence that allows you to just speak freely, whether you're in front of a camera, in front of thousands of people, or, just hanging out with a few people. That's the point I would like to get to, because it's a struggle for me to speak in front of a camera, no matter how many times I've done it, no matter how many times. And I just find it so silly. Really, I don't get it. But I know this, the more you do it, the easier it will become. And the more that you stop catering everything to be exactly what you think it should be, and you just let it flow, then I really do believe that only good things will come from that. So this is my tip of the night. In bed, bedtime advice with me. I hope you have a great